Welcome to the Wayfaring Panda. I'm really excited because today is my first YouTube hop and I'm doing it with Team Tiny. The theme is tea and coffee, so I chose this stamp set to feature on the card. It's from Your Next Stamp and it's called Lovebirds. I'll tell you about the hop in just a bit. I'm starting with some Fawn Jet Black ink and Spectrum Noir paper because both of these are alcohol ink friendly and I'm going to be using Copic markers. Before I started the card, I looked at the internet for pictures of lovebirds to get some inspiration. I decided to color these like blue masked lovebirds. They have a black head or kind of a dark gray, and they usually have a little bit of white on the chest and a light blue. I just did the white on the one larger parrot because the other two were kind of small. And then they also have a darker blue on the back, which sometimes is turquoise color. So I chose all my colors according to that, and I'll put those up at the top. The technique I'm using is starting from the darker colors and going to lighter. And I'm also trying to make the top and other areas where the light would be shining more a little bit lighter. However, I'm not very good at shading because I just started using Copics recently and I'm not an artist. Also, these stamps are very small. You'll notice I did zoom in quite a bit. So I'm using a brush tip, which is very hard to use in these small spaces. I purchased some Copic nibs that are fine point that I can replace the chisel tip with. So I'll be doing that in the future. I just wanted to see which colors I use the most so I knew which markers to replace the nibs on. Then I think it'll be a little easier to color the stamp set. In order to celebrate, I'm going to be giving away a $25 e-gift card to Trail Lodge Tea. In order to enter, you must be at least 13 years old and live in one of the 50 United States or Washington, D.C. If you'd like to enter, just put in the comments, gift card, all one word, and then I'll know you want to win the gift card. To enter the giveaway, you need to have your comment in by June 4th on Thursday, and I'll pick a winner on Friday, and I'll make another video to announce the winner. I'll put a link down in the description to my website with all the details of the giveaway and also the rules. This blog hop is a hashtag-driven blog hop. So all you have to do is click on the hashtag Team Tiny Tea Time in my description, and that will bring up all the other videos that are participating in the hop. Team Tiny is a group on Facebook of people who have a YouTube channel that are paper crafters. And we also are smaller channels that are not monetized. So Team Tiny's main goal is to help all of us grow our channels and to eventually become monetized. So the great thing about doing a blog hop on Team Tiny is that since we're not monetized, there are no commercials. We appreciate your support by participating in this video hop. You can help small channels grow by subscribing to our channels, liking the videos, leaving comments, and also watching the entire video. This helps us meet our monetization goals. I'm actually making this card for a lady at our church. She's a nurse here in the St. Louis area, and she took a month off of her regular work to go to a hospital in New Jersey that's been overwhelmed with the COVID-19 patients. And she went up there to work for a month. And she's coming back soon, so her sister and some friends at church are organizing a surprise for when she gets back. So they want us to make cards or give her some treats. So I made this card for her. I cut out some of the coloring on this video because it's going pretty long and you have some other videos to watch. I used a black micro pen to go over the eyes so you can see it better. I'm going to emboss a sentiment, so I'm taking some white cardstock that I cut out with the smallest rectangle from Lawn Fawn's rectangular dies, and then I went over it with my embossing buddy, so that way the embossing powder only sticks to the place that I stamp. I'm using my stamp platform to stamp the sentiment. I'm using Tim Holtz Distress Ink Salty Ocean to stamp the sentiment. The great thing about this technique is you only need clear embossing powder, and you can use whatever color distress ink that you like. The great thing about a stamp platform is that if it doesn't ink completely, you can go and stamp it again, and it'll stamp it in the same place. And you'll see I had that problem, so that's why I like the stamp platform. I'm pouring my clear embossing powder over my sentiment, and I'm doing this over a coffee filter so that I can use that to pour back into the container. Now I'm using my embossing gun or heat tool to melt the embossing powder. The cool thing about this is you can see that it melts by changing color. So you can see in the video it does darken up a little bit. I recently got these tweezers, and this really helps. I used to try to hold it with my fingers, and you had to be careful not to burn your finger. Now I'm using my Tim Holtz Distress Ink and blending tool to go around the edge of the paper. I decided to use craft colors because I thought that would look really good with the blue. And also it goes with tea. And I'm using the tea dye color, of course. Now I'm doing the same thing with the heart that I cut out with Lawn Fawn's outside-in stitched heart stackable. And this was their middle-sized heart. Next I cut out some white cardstock with Lawn Fawn's Lacy Heart Stackable. And this is the middle heart, which works perfectly with the last one that I just cut out. And I'm going around this one with Salty Ocean. I'm using the same inks to stamp a teacup and a tea bag from Avery Elle's Tea Time stamp set. And this is to make my own pattern paper. ATG to attach the back to the card. And I actually cut this card out of Lawn Fawn's outside-in stackable die, so it's a little bit smaller than an A2 size card. If you want to have one that's an A2 size card, then you would want to use the Lawn Fawn regular stackable rectangles, or whatever rectangle dies that you have. used my acid-free glue stick to attach the brown heart to the lacy heart. You can see how this works really well. It looks kind of like a traditional heart, except normally you would use red and white. I used my glue again for this heart, but then I decided it didn't stick well enough, so then I used a double-sided adhesive tape. And both of these were repositionable, which turns out to be good because then you can reposition it, but it's not quite straight. Dimensional squares to pop up my birds. Usually people use foam squares, but I made some of my own squares. And this is actually in a T10, so I thought that was kind of cute that it went with the card. Anyway, I make these squares out of chipboard or cardboard and double-sided tape. And I do have a video showing that. Right before I decided to do that, I realized I forgot to go around the sentiment with my Salty Ocean ink. So thank goodness I did use repositionable tape so I could take it off and do this. The sentiment says you are terrific, which came from the Lovebirds stamp set. And then the inside I stamped bottomless thanks. I thought that would be great for a frontline worker. Hopefully this blog hop will give you some ideas for making cards. And maybe you can make some cards for some frontline workers. I know they'll appreciate it. And also I think it'd be great to send these to people who are living on their own, because that would be very hard to be at home all by yourself all these months. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your support. You can click the hashtag below to see some more videos for tea and coffee.